All right, welcome to the episode one of the Blue Line Breakdown podcast. We're your co-hosts. I'm Jace. I'm joined here with my good buddies Alex and Harrison, and this is episode one of our first podcast where we break down the latest news and topics from around the National Hockey League. Before we get going, we just all like to do a little introduction to ourselves. First, my name's Jace. I'm 19 years old. Love the National Hockey League, always have. Favorite team, got to be the Edmonton Oilers. Live right close to Edmonton area. I've loved the Oilers ever since I was a kid. And yeah, I played hockey my whole life, just super passionate about the game. And I thought, why not start a podcast talking about the league and all the big news from around the NHL with my two good buddies. So I'll pass it over to my friend Alex. He can introduce himself next.
Hey guys, my name's Alex. I'm a big fan of the National Hockey League. I am a Habs fan, living in Edmonton, so I also support the Oilers. Always loved the Hockey League ever since the 2013-14 season, and just here to come talk some hockey and have some fun.
Thanks. And I'm Harrison. I'm 19 years old. I am a Preds fan, which many people may not think an Edmontonian would be a fan of, but that's how it goes sometimes. And I've been a fan of the NHL for as long as I can remember. I grew up in a hockey family, and yeah, so I'm
All
talking
right.
about.
Cool.
Yeah, that was just a quick introduction of the three hosts. And we have a couple segments to get going today. We're going to review some of the biggest games from the past week of the National Hockey League. We're recording this on Thursday, March 2nd. And then we will preview some big games for the upcoming week. And then we have a little segment we like to call the Blue Line Pick'em, where we each pick one goal scorer from each day of the next week. So total of seven goal scorers each. And then we just kind of see who gets a goal. And then next week we'll review, see who got our picks right. And then we're going to discuss and give our own opinions on some of the general news from the past week, including the trades, because the trade deadline is tomorrow, and other stuff like some waivers, suspension, stuff like that, but mainly trades because it's all been trades this week. So to get going, we're going to review some big games of the past week. We're going to start with the game on Saturday, February 25th, where the Bruins played the Canucks. Bruins ended up winning that one 3-1, but do one of you guys want to talk about the big moment of that game, the one that everyone's been talking about?
Harrison,
I
do you
feel
want
like
to give her?
it'd be pretty fitting with the jersey I've got on right now. It's why I wore it today, but yeah, I'll mark with the first goalie goal since my good buddy Pecorine scored in 2020. So it's pretty huge. It pretty much solidifies his place as the Vezina Trophy winner. In my opinion, he should be unanimous. It's pretty much over now. He could just lose the rest. Maybe not lose the rest, but he's it's pretty clear cut right now. He's Vezina Trophy winner.
I
What do you
agree.
guys think?
Vezina for sure. I think it's good to note that was the first goalie goal in Bruins history as well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that was. I didn't actually watch the game, but that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, definitely was pretty amazing to see, especially the best goal in the league, head and shoulders this year, score a goal. The other goal scorers from that game, Hampus Lindholm added his seventh of the year. He's having a career year. Brad Marchand got his 19th. And
Yeah,
goal scorer for Vancouver was Brock Besser. A lot of rumors he might get moved in the next day or two, but I guess we will see.
yeah.
You guys got any more points to add on that one, or do you want to move on to the next big game that happened the past week?
I think we're good. I don't think much else happened in that game aside from the goalie goal. So let's go Lightning Penguins here. Pens 5 goals in under 5 minutes. It was a 7-3 Penguins W in Pittsburgh. Do you guys got some thoughts on this?
I'll go first. I just think that yeah, the Lightning winning, and then it was a pretty close game, and then 5 minutes to go left in the second, the Penguins just opened the floodgates. They added 5 goals, and um, yeah, it was just a crazy affair. They went up like I think they were up 7-2 at that point, and then Tampa just got one in the third. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was they got Crosby scored, Bluger scored, Carter scored, Zucker scored, and Dumoulin scored. They didn't even get one in the third. They just kind of ran away with it.
Yeah.
Now
Harrison, do you have
this
any points to add?
Uh,
you go, Harrison. You go.
yeah. And to think this was after they played the Oilers, right? Penguins. This was a couple days later.
Yeah, it was
If I'm
the
not
Sunday.
mistaken.
Yeah, it was the game after they played Edmonton.
Yeah, to think they just lost like what 7-2 to Edmonton. They bounced back and win 7-3. I don't know.
Pretty unbelievable.
Kind of
Playoffs,
tells
They're
you
you,
never
fighting
know.
for a wild card spot right now. So
yeah, tells you a lot about the Penguin season. I find.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Sure.
Crosby had another good year. That was his 26th of the year. He's still near the top in points. Always been a consistently great player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Harrison, do you want to bring us into our next game?
Yeah, the next game we had that day was Capitals at Sabres with the Sabres winning 7-4 and Cousins getting a hat trick. And also Tage Thompson getting the 40 goal mark, which I can't say I expected at the start of the season. What do
Yeah,
you
me
guys got
Man,
to add?
I love that Thompson kid. He is so special to watch. I find I try to watch as much Sabres hockey as I can. Um, Thompson, he's on another level ever since last year when he started out and really solidified as one of the top guys of the league last year. I don't know. He's special, and I hope the Sabres they could slide into the playoffs here this year. That'd be really neat to see. Be good for the
Mhm.
city.
Yeah, they're really fighting for a spot. Dylan Cousins, um, kind of the Tage Thompson this year. Thompson, obviously, he's
Mhm.
having a better year this year than last year, but last year was his big breakout year. Cousins
Yeah.
that game scored his 21st, his 22nd, and his 23rd of the year for his first career hat trick. As the Sabres kind of ease their way to a win against Washington, and they are fighting right now for a wild card spot. That East is tough.
Yeah,
That'd be huge to see Buffalo back in the playoffs. It's been what, 11 years since they made it or more? 13?
I
I
think it's
don't know the
11.
exact number, but
I
it's been a
think
long.
so.
Yeah, they made
That's
it
they
once in
deserve
the early
something to cheer
2010s,
about.
and I think that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sneak in. They got a pretty tough task as a wild card team, though.
Do you guys remember what Cousins signed for? Just I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago or something. It was just over 7 million, right? 7.125, I think.
Here, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, Sabres, they locked him up to a 7-year, $49.7 million extension. So yeah, he's
Nice.
going to be making over 7.1 million a year to be exact for
That
the
He
next
is
just had
7 years after this year.
100 points the other day, right? Like in his career.
yeah, in his
Passed
career,
100.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, Buffalo's got
That's
he's gonna be
tons of
good.
young talent on their
Hmm
roster. They got
that's
And
him.
Tage
They got
came over in that O'Reilly trade, right? Like a couple
yeah,
years ago, or a
yeah.
while ago now.
I saw a post just a little bit ago of all the Buffalo fans just
Hmm
giving it to Tage when he came over, and I'm glad Tage shut him up, to be honest.
hmm
Yeah, that's pretty good.
they got a bunch of young talent. Cousins, Thompson, Darlene, Owen Power. They got Jack Quinn. They're just loaded over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But anyways, I
bright
think we should get
future.
into our next game that we're reviewing. That happened on Monday, February 27th. Bruins again. They went into Edmonton. They did take the win 3-2, but the big highlight of that game was McDavid scored both the Oilers' goals to hit 50, first time in his career. Guys, thoughts on that?
What can't this guy do, right? Like, I'm
Yeah,
so glad we live in the Edmonton area, man, and we can watch this
It's
guy
crazy.
whenever we want. Um, this guy could really do anything on a daily basis. He is unbelievable.
yeah.
I think we definitely take for granted that we get to watch him play in Edmonton for just, we've had him here, what, 8 years now?
8 years, yeah.
That's crazy. He's getting old, but yeah, 50 goals. That's 52 now. Two last night.
Yeah. How many do you
Unreal.
think he'll end the season with?
I want to say he, I want to say he gets 70, but I think he's gonna come one or two short. I think it's gonna be
20
that
games?
close.
20 games left? for the Oilers?
20 games on the dot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20 games, and he's at
He's at
52 goals
52.
because he got 2 against the Leafs last night.
5 straight multi-goal games. Third player in the
Third
last
time.
century to do it. Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
First
Yeah,
of the
I
month
think
for
he'll get
February.
at least 65, in my opinion. I can't see him really slowing down, especially with this playoff push coming up. He's gonna keep rolling.
He's special.
Yeah, I'll say he gets. I want him to get 70, but I'll say he gets 67, which is still insane.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Shall we move into the last game on our review here?
Indeed.
Yeah, this game was crazy.
So we got the Kings. They were at the Jets on Tuesday night. The Kings came out with a 6-5. It was a shootout win, right? Kopitar got 4 goals, and the big news was this was Quick's last game as a King.
Yeah, I will say
Fellas, you
he
got some
didn't
thoughts?
start that game, but yeah, it was his last game in a King uniform.
Yeah.
Because weren't
Yeah.
the Kings down pretty early? I want to say what?
They
4-1
were.
or something?
Pull
And
it
then
back up here.
Kopitar just got 4 in a row.
Yeah, they
Bring him
Yeah.
back. It's unreal.
Yeah, it was a shootout. Gotta find it here.
yeah, I believe the Jets
Kings
were up. I want to say 4-1, maybe. I think, or
Okay, so Jets up 2-0, Jets up 3-1, tied 3-3, Jets up 5-3 at the end of the second.
yeah, so they had two separate 2-goal leads, and Kopitar added 4 goals. Velarde tied it with just over 4 minutes to go in the game, and then they ended up winning in the shootout. That's a crazy game.
Kings are holding on, man. They are holding on here.
They are.
Yep, they got
They're
big 2
thorn in the
points
Oilers' side
there,
right now.
and even though the Jets lost, they still got a point because the central race right now is also extremely tight.
It's crazy. The top, what is it? A couple spots, they're all divided by 2 points, 4 points, maybe. There's like 6 teams that could slide into the top in the West. It's unbelievably close.
Yeah, Vegas leads the conference with
is
78, and Winnipeg as a wild card 2 with 72. So 8 teams, top 8 are separated by 6 points.
That's nuts.
Unbelievable.
And then who's just outside wild card? Is it Calgary and Nashville? And they're still like 5 points behind the second.
Calgary is 5 points back. Nashville is 8 points back. Everyone else doesn't.
There's a huge drop from St. Louis to Nashville, right?
Yeah, St. Louis is
3 points. Oh yeah.
A lot of games in hand, I think.
St. Louis is 7 points back in Nashville.
Yeah.
Harrison, you're the Preds fan. What do you think? Do you think Nashville gets in, or do you think they're done?
If I'm being honest, I don't think so. All the pieces we're losing right now come the trade deadline. I think it's just rebuild season, and it'd be nice. We've made the playoffs like every year for the past, I want to say, 8 years, but I think it's over. It's time to rebuild. Need something new in Smashville.
That's good. I like that.
All right. I think those are our big 5 games from the past week. Obviously, there was a bunch of great games, but we don't want to dwindle too long on the past week. We tried to pick 5 that had big moments and big milestones in them, but I think now we can get into the preview for the big games from the upcoming week. The big one for tonight that we have for Thursday, March 2nd, is the Senators are in MSG to take on the Rangers. And this is a big game because it's likely the debut of Chychrun, and it's confirmed the Patrick Kane making his first ever or playing his first ever game in the NHL, not a member of the Chicago Blackhawks.
We'll get into the trade. We'll get into that trade a little bit later, but I am excited. I think this kind of solidifies the Rangers. I'd be pretty shocked if they don't make it to at least the Eastern Conference Final this year.
100%.
And then Chychrun, I can't believe the Senators got him. I think it's a good thing that the Senators got him. That's a really good fit for Chychrun, but Arizona, man, they were asking way too much for way too long, and it costed them. we'll talk about that trade later, but I'm excited for this game. This will be a really good one.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to
Sure.
watch. Ottawa's only 5 points out of playoff spot. They're desperate for wins right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're rolling. They wasn't Chikrin. He shot out a couple games, right, to do the trade stuff.
He's been out for what is
6
it?
games?
Well over a month, I thought. Maybe not that long, but oof.
Yeah, he's definitely been sitting out recently, so I'm sure he'll be happy to get back on the ice tonight.
Yeah.
Sure. I saw a
that'll be
report
good.
that he wanted to rush to the rink tonight and play because he's been itching to get back on the ice, and I don't blame him.
I saw a few
Huge
photos.
game.
He was walking in. He was walking in with the team. So, I think he's playing tonight, but
Nice.
I don't know. That'll be a really good game. I'll probably tune into that one here pretty quick here.
Yeah, that's definitely the game of the night tonight for me, for sure. There's a lot of games on tonight, 100%. But that's definitely probably going to be the one that I'm most likely to watch.
Any predictions, I think?
I don't know. I think Rangers take it. I'll save my goal scorer for later for the blue line pick'em, but I'm just excited to see these two guys, especially Kane. You know, he spent so much time in Chicago and he did so much for that city. Like I said, we'll get into that trade later, but the return that shocked me. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Kane is likely going to be playing on the line with Panarin tonight, and they were absolutely filthy in Chicago, so I'm sure they'll be happy to reunite here tonight.
Yeah, exciting times for the Rangers. Very exciting.
I'll say final score. I'll say it's going to be high scoring. I'll say 5-4 Rangers regulation.
I'll say 4-2 Rangers.
4-2. I'm thinking 5-3 Rangers with an empty netter. So close game.
Yeah, could definitely see the Sens taking it though. They're on a hot streak right now.
100%.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Shall we go into the next game here?
Yeah, for sure. Take it away.
Okay, so we this coming Friday, March 3rd, we got the Devils in Vegas, which should be Timo Meier's Devils debut. I'm not sure if it's confirmed, but likely will be. So that'll be quite the game for Devils fans for sure.
Yeah, what a season the Devils are having, hey? They're just cruising right now.
I can't believe it.
I can't lie.
Especially after last season.
They're all
not even close. For perspective, they are second in the Metro, 1 point behind Carolina, who has 86 points this season.
Yep, and in the entire league, they're third.
That's unbelievable. I don't think anybody could predict that coming out of last season for sure. But the Devils, they are an absolute wagon this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that they have Hughes back for a full season too. Well, I think he was injured for a little bit there, but for the majority of the season here, he's been rock solid. So very exciting.
Hughes has been their stud right now.
Awesome.
And adding Meier, he's a goal scoring machine.
Yeah,
they'll definitely like the addition of him.
Yeah.
And for Vegas,
after Hughes's, you go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, and for Vegas, they're only 2 points ahead of LA right now. They need to stay ahead. They need to get wins, so it'll be a big game for them.
That is huge.
Yep.
I think Hughes was noted as a bust after his first year. Now all of a sudden, but he's finally living up to his expectations of actually being a star player for his team, and he's really proven a lot of people wrong who doubted him a couple
Good
of
for
years
him.
ago,
Good
including
for
myself.
Him. Really? You thought he was a bust? I did not know this.
I made a couple TikToks about him. Can't
lie.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, some guys just need a couple of years to develop. Like, nothing wrong with that, but we've gotten so used to the McDavids and the Matthews and the McKinnons that they just step in immediately and just are star players that we forget that not every first overall pick can do that immediately.
Yeah. All right. Shall we next game, fellas?
Yeah. So this Saturday we got the Avs at the Stars, which will be a battle for first in the Central. It's a early game, not a late night game, so that'll be a interesting. Well, interesting to see in Dallas too. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it should
that'll
be a
be
close
good.
game.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Stars are leading the division right now. They're leading. They're up on the Avs by 4 points, but the Avs have 2 games in hand. So, assuming the Avs can win out, they'll be neck and neck. So this is a huge game for
Mm.
the Central Division lead.
yeah. And the West lead in general. Honestly, anybody could pull out of the West here. So that's just how close it is.
Really tight battle.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Good. Yeah, noted 3:30 p.m. Eastern start. So very early. That'll be a good game. Dallas knows how to get it rocking down there. So
They do.
that'll be good.
Yeah, Dallas. Their weakness in the prior years has been their defense or their goal scoring, but their goal scoring has been drastically improved this year. They have the best goal differential in the West, and their defense is always rock solid. So with Colorado, their offense is always high octane. So it'll be a good battle there, high octane offense versus solid defense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be quite the.
Any score predictions?
I don't know. I'd like to see the Avs take this one out, but I think it's gonna be close. Maybe a 3-1 or 2-1 final for the Avs. We'll see here.
Yeah, I'll say Avs win it. I'll say 4-2.
I think, I think it'll be mid-scoring. I'd say 3-1, I guess. Let's see what happens for the Avs. They're rolling right now. They got a lot of people back from injuries, so
Mm-hmm. All right, move on, fellas.
Yeah, the next game that we're going to preview is that same day. It's Saturday, March 4th. This one's at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's the Penguins Panthers. It's a big wild card battle in the East. Both teams are fighting for a wild card spot. The Panthers are having a down year by what a lot of people expected. And Pittsburgh is a wild card too right now. They're only 3 points separated currently. So, yeah, this game is going to be a big one.
That wild card race in the East is just unbelievable. It's like the West in general. That's how tight it is.
mhm.
Yeah.
There's so many teams that could make it out. It's
Yeah,
just it's
Detroit,
crazy.
Ottawa, Washington, Florida, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders. It's just all separated by 6 points. That's crazy.
To
That'll
think
be a
all
good
the
one.
top 3 teams in each division, it's pretty much impossible for them to fall into a wild card spot now too. They're so
Yeah.
far ahead of everyone else. Just everyone else is pretty much locked in.
Well, we
Division
know for
spots.
sure it'll be Toronto, Tampa, first round. The Metro is kind of we'll see, but I don't know. I don't know. The East is tough this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a huge game. They face each other. They face each other a lot every year. So, yeah, Florida will be trying to prove that they can make the playoffs again instead of falling off. And Pittsburgh is trying to prove that they can still make the playoffs after getting really old with all their key players.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can't lie, I
Cool.
thought they'd be out of the playoff picture this year. Even last year,
Penguins?
I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think they were going to make it in last year, but I don't know. I think they're due for rebuild. I think it's beyond that point now. I don't know what they'll do because they just re-signed Letang too. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting over in Pittsburgh, especially with what Ron Hextall's doing this deadline. There's a lot of questions to be asked, and I know a lot of people on Twitter are not very happy with the way things are going. So we'll see what happens in Steel City here.
Yeah, and the last game that we're going to preview for the upcoming week is on Sunday. It's a afternoon game, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be the Lightnings going in to Raleigh to face on the Hurricanes. It's the 2 top six teams in the whole league. Carolina is at home and they have more points, so they're likely the favorite. But Tampa has proven year after year that never count them out.
Yep. 3 p.m. Eastern start to another early game. So I don't know. That's going to be a tight one again. It really comes down to the way Carolina comes flying out here. I don't know. The way that Lightning maybe settle in. That will likely be Jeannot's first game, unless the Lightning play Friday or so. I'm not sure, but that'll be quite the matchup for sure.
It'll definitely be, I would say, home ice advantage for Carolina, 'cause that crowd there is just it's crazy.
They have to be
Next to
fired
none.
up too, right? They
Oh,
have
100.
to be fired up. Like they've been at the top of the Metro for how many years now, and Eastern Conference Finals a couple times here. It's time to get over the hump here. They got to get into
Exactly.
the Cup Finals and maybe even take it home. So this is the year for Carolina if they're going to do it. That's for sure.
100%.
Yeah, and also to note, it's the second half of back-to-back for Tampa. They're in Buffalo on Saturday for another afternoon game. It's actually unless you're on the East Coast, it's actually a morning game. It's at 12:30 Eastern. So Carolina's gonna have to try and catch him sleeping there a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be a tough travel day. That's for sure. Anyways, shall we do the blue line pick 'em here real quick?
Yeah, I think so. So just to recap, the blue line pick 'em, we're each gonna pick one player per day for the next 7 days, so 7 players, and we have to pick 2 defensemen. That was one of the rules that we made, and 5 forwards, just so that we're not picking like all studs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then next week when we come back, we'll see who had the most correct guesses by the end of the week, and then we'll make our picks for the following week. And then at the end, we can see who had the most right throughout the whole season. And yeah, so for tonight, Thursday, who does everyone have scoring?
I'll go first here. I got Patty Kane against the Sens. I think it's meant to be. That'd be quite the scene in MSG, that's for sure. It's got to happen, right? That's just
Mhm.
one of the things that just kind of has to happen. So that's my pick for tonight.
For me, I I know Boston is a powerhouse this year, but I think Tage Thompson always finds the way to score in big games, and I think he will continue that tonight in Boston. And I don't know if they'll win, but I got a Tage Thompson goal tonight.
Yeah, that could definitely see him scoring. Um, and for my pick, I'm going to go to the Nashville Florida game, and I'm going to go with Florida's top goal scorer, the guy that's kind of snuck under the radar most of the year, Carter Verhaeghe. He's at over 30 goals. He's broken his career high already, and I don't know. I think he pots one tonight against Nashville.
Sweet, sweet. Okay, so for tomorrow, Friday, March 3rd, I got Ekholm against Winnipeg. That'd be pretty cool to see big D-man for the Oilers, newly acquired, make his mark, and really have a impact against the Jets, which is another top matchup this week, which we did not cover, but that'll be quite the game tomorrow for sure.
100%. And for mine, I've got the early game on Friday. I've got Kent Johnson scoring against Seattle, and I just feel like he's been having an all right year. He's been up and down, but I got a feeling he's going to score. They're at home. Seattle's also a very up and down team, so we'll see what happens.
I could definitely see him scoring that one there. And for mine tomorrow, I'm just going to go with the safe pick. I'm going to go to the Carolina Arizona game. I'm going to pick Sebastian Aho. I know he's not the top scorer for goals on the Hurricanes, but I don't know. I just feel like against Arizona, they're not a very good team. I feel like Carolina's offense is going to go off, and Aho's going to sneak one in there.
Cool, sweet. Okay, so Saturday night here, March 4th, I have the man making his return to the Canucks already, Luke Schenn scoring in Rogers Arena in Vancouver, making his mark for Toronto after what seemed like not the greatest performance by the Leafs last night against the Oilers. So let's see if Luke Schenn can really come in here and show Kyle Dubas and Leafs Nation that they made a good choice here.
I like that. It's a good pick. For me, I've got the 8:30 game on Saturday. I've got Kevin Fiala, former Nashville Predator, going against St. Louis. And yeah, he's got paid big time in the offseason. I think he's got to live up to those expectations and score goals. Got 64 points this year, but I got a feeling he's scoring.
Yeah, those are two really great picks. For my pick that day, I'm going to go kind of a wild card pick. I'm going to go with Kirill Marchenko of the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're in Ottawa, and he's just been a goal scoring machine since stepping in. Like he's got, I think, like 50 goals or 15 goals or something now. He's playing with Gaudreau, so I think he's a pretty safe pick to score that day.
Yeah, he's been
I
a
like
really
that.
bright, really bright spot for the Blue Jackets this year. It's really good to see.
Okay, and then
Cool.
for Sunday,
Sunday, let's see. Okay, so I'll go for another new guy. I got Meyer in Arizona, uh, playing for the Devils. I think that's just one of those things that just kind of has to happen again. And that would be good to see. It'd be good to see Meyer connect with his new team. I kind of hope the Devils do something in the playoffs. So be good to see some chemistry start early here.
yeah, for sure.
Good pick. I could definitely totally see that happen, especially against Arizona. That's a
Yeah, me too.
team to score against for sure. For my Sunday pick, I'm taking Martin Necas against Tampa Bay. He's always been under the radar. He's so underrated. He's leading the Hurricanes in points right now. He's second in goals, just behind Aho, and I think he'll put one in the back of the net.
Yep. He's nasty. He's good.
Yes.
And for my pick that day, I'm going to go also kind of a lesser pick. I'm going to go to Colorado, but I'm not going to pick one of the premier guys. I'm going to pick JT Compher. Colorado's at home. They're playing Seattle, and Compher's is one of those guys. He just always can contribute. He's very consistent. He'll score between like 15 and 20 goals a year.
Mhm.
Colorado's their chemistry is just so good. Every guy knows how to chip in. So I think Compher will pot one that night.
Mhm. Cool. Moving on to Monday here. I've got Nuge when the Oilers visit Sabres. With that power play, I mean, how's that thing stoppable? Honestly, it's I just think Nuge is he's bound to pot one. So we'll see if that comes true or not here.
Yep, Nuge
I
has had
agree.
a great year this year with goal scoring, so could definitely see that.
Uh, yeah, so for my Monday pick, I'm going with my first defenseman, Thomas Chabot in Chicago. He's not really scoring as much as I thought this year. He's at 9 goals, but I think he'll get his 10th against Chicago. I feel pretty confident.
Yeah, especially with the addition of Chikrin. I'm not sure if they'll play in the same
Mm-hmm.
pairing, and Chicago's not a very good team, so could definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
And with my pick for that Monday, I'm also going to take a defenseman. I'm going to go with one of the best defensemen in the league, Roman Josi in Vancouver. Um, Obviously, defensemen don't score as much, but if there's one guy to get a goal, Roman Josi's probably one of the best in the league at that from the back end. So, yeah, just hopefully he can pot one that day against Vancouver.
That's solid. Very solid. Okay, Tuesday here. I've got Kotkaniemi scoring in Montreal. I don't think he's done it yet. I'm pretty sure he hasn't, but that one just kind of makes sense. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that'd be pretty cool.
Kotkaniemi loved by
Yeah.
many Habs
Mm-hmm.
fans. Obviously, a little bit of an early choice in the draft, but how can you not like that guy? I mean,
Yeah, for sure. That'd be storybook.
yep, it would.
Yeah, moving along, I've got my Tuesday pick. I'm taking my second defenseman, Chris Letang against Columbus. Fresh off a new contract, fresh off of that terrible stroke he had, but I think he's. I've got a feeling he's going to score. It's Columbus. They're not very good. They're probably the best shot for Bedard right now. So
He's having a pretty good season, too.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, could definitely see Letang getting one there against a division rival. And with my pick, I'll also take my second defenseman. This is in the Buffalo Islanders game. I'm going to go with Noah Dobson. He's actually scoring a lot this year. Like, um, you wouldn't think it because he's on Islanders. No one really watches the Islanders, but he's at over 10 goals right now from the back end. And like, I just see him potentially potting one, especially on the power play. He plays a PP1. He has a really good wrist shot. So yeah, hopefully he can get one that night, but I guess we'll see.
Cool. Okay.
I like that pick.
Last game or last picks for the blue line pick'em here. So Wednesday, I've got Kyle Connor against the Wild. Started off the season slow, pretty slow for his standards, but he's really picked it up, and he's one of the reasons that the Jets really rebounded this year. So I love the man personally. So going with Kyle Connor against the Wild here.
Yeah, he's a
I
goal
like
scorer.
that.
Could definitely see that.
He definitely is. Yeah, for my last pick, I'm going with the guy who just signed the contract yesterday, or was it this morning? Bill Larkin.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday it was okay, cool. He deserves that one for sure. But yeah, he's over 20 goals this year again, and again it's Chicago a couple times now to score against them, but it's bound to happen. Still Larkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's having a really good year. That's a really good pick. And with the last pick for the blue line pick'em for that Wednesday, I'm going to also go to the Wild and Jets game, but I'm going to go with the Wild side, and I'm going to go Kirill Kaprizov. He's just a goal scoring machine. He scored all 3 goals the other day in that 3-2 overtime win. He's at 37 on the year. He has more goals than assists. I just think if he doesn't score that night, like something's wrong with the league. Like he should score every other night. He's just that good. So yeah, those are all of our picks for the blue line pick'em. So yeah, next week we'll come back and we'll see who got the most right, and then we'll make our picks for next week.
Cool. I love that. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay, shall we do some news around the league here? It's obviously trade deadline week. It's less than 24 hours to the deadline from the point that we're recording this. So what better time than to discuss the National Hockey League, honestly. So let's kick it off. We got Orlov and Hathaway to Boston. So let me pull up the full trade here. This was a beast of a trade. Okay, so the Bruins acquire Dmitry Orlov and Garnet Hathaway in exchange for a 2023 first round pick, a 2024 third round pick, a 2025 second round pick, and Craig Smith to the Washington Capitals. Washington, it should also be noted, retains 50% of Orlov's salary.
Yeah,
What do you guys think?
That was a big trade to kick things off. A lot of picks to give up for Boston, but they're trying to win now. Like they're top of the league, head and shoulders, and they just improved their defense and their bottom 6, and they've already both contributed offensively since being traded. So yeah, I think that's a good trade for the Bruins. Makes them even scarier than they were already going into the playoffs.
A solid return as well. You know, it's going to be a late first. I believe it's Boston's first. So obviously a late first this year, but a third, a second, and then Craig Smith on top of that. That's not too bad for Washington. They didn't get fleeced there for sure.
Yeah, that first I'll just say real quick, that first that Washington got back, they already used it for another piece that we'll touch on later.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like you said, Orlov is already making a huge impact. I think he scored twice against Calgary, and he scored against Edmonton in his debut, I believe. So he's already just lighting it up.
Yep. Cool.
Yep,
Shall we
moving on? Moving on, we got unfortunately Nino Niederreiter to Winnipeg for a second rounder, but what do you guys think?
I don't know. I think it's a pretty even trade. I mean, you give up Nino, but I think it's clear by the trades that Nashville has made this deadline that this is the direction the organization is moving to. So a second rounder for Nino, I'd be pretty happy with that if I was Harrison. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can't lie. When I first saw it, I was like, damn, it's a shame. But in the future, it'll help us out quite a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just think it's a pretty simple trade. Winnipeg's in the playoffs right now. They want a rental. They're trying to make a run, so they get a solid middle six forward, and they give up a second rounder to Nashville. I'd say fair trade all around. We'll see what Winnipeg can do in the playoffs, but yeah, pretty standard deadline trade there, I would say.
Yep, I agree.
Which brings us to the next deal. We got a swap between Gurianov from the Stars going to Montreal, and they acquired Evgeny Dadonov. Just a 1-for-1. What are your thoughts on that one?
I don't know. The Habs bring in Dadonov at the beginning of the season. Not a huge impact player in Montreal. It'll be exciting to see what he can do for Dallas. I think it's good to note that Montreal is also retaining 50% of Dodonov's salary. Can't remember what his cap is, but I don't know. I think it's a pretty good return for Montreal. Gurianov, who in the bubble playoffs there, he scored the Stanley Cup finals go ahead goal or whatever to go into the finals. Sorry. So I don't know. We'll see what Gurianov can do with Montreal, and we'll see how Dadonov can help Dallas push through the Western playoffs here.
Harrison, got anything to add, or?
I don't really have not much. They're both Russian, right?
I think so. I think
Dadonov
so.
for sure
last name
is.
Ov.
Yeah, I'm assuming Gurianov is, but can't say for sure. I'd double check that.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty even trade.
Yeah.
1-for-1 is just usually pretty even unless it's like Paul for Larson.
Mm. Cool. Okay. Next trade here we have a Barbashev and Dean swap. The trade is 1-for-1 as well. So, what do you guys think?
I think that's again, it's another rental deal, except instead of a pick, it's just a prospect. Zach Dean went in the first round late a couple years ago to Vegas, and Barbashev was contributing for St. Louis. He was also middle six guy. So Vegas trying to add on their forwards, and they give up a prospect. They've traded a lot of the guys they drafted in the first round over the past few years. Hasn't paid off yet. They haven't won a cup, but who knows? Maybe this is the year that Barbashev helps them get over the hump.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this will definitely help. It'll definitely help Vegas.
Yeah.
Down their order, and I think I can see them definitely making a run for the conference finals, Vegas, but they'll have to get past Edmonton. But
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah, he's a good depth player who has that Stanley Cup Finals experience, right? He won the cup against Boston, so that's it's a decent price to pay for Barbashev, but one I don't think Vegas will really regret. So we'll see how that turns out.
And St. Louis, they've been trading away a couple guys recently. They've acquired quite a few prospects and picks, so they're well on their way to a bit of a rebuild / retool here, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
And now we got the big one. We got this full trade is kind of crazy. It's the Timo Meier trade. San Jose retained 50%. They sent Meier to New Jersey. They also sent Scott Harrington, and there's a bunch of prospects on both sides. I'm not even going to try and pronounce anyone's name that I don't know. San Jose also sent 3 prospects and a 2024 fifth to the Devils, and then New Jersey in return sent to San Jose Andreas Janssen, who is another bottom 6 / middle 6 forward, Fabian Zetterlund, Shakir Mukhamadullin, which was their first round pick from 2020, I believe. Another prospect, Nikita, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. A 2023 first, a conditional 2024 second and a 2024 seventh round pick. That's probably the biggest trade of the week in terms of how many pieces go back and forth. But yeah, we touched on Meyer a little bit earlier, but thoughts on the actual trade itself?
What an underwhelming return for the Sharks, in my opinion. You get a bunch of you get Janssen and Zetterland, which isn't too bad. You get a first in Shakir and then a 2023 first. But for all the pieces that went both ways, I just find that fairly underwhelming for Timo Meyer, especially at a 50%
100%.
retention. I don't know.
I
That's how
agree.
I feel.
Sounds like could have got a lot more.
Yeah.
If I don't know, it's definitely underwhelming. I totally agree.
Yeah, they didn't
Jace, you
really
got
get
some.
like Mukamadulin is pretty promising. And then the first again picks are you don't really know what picks are going to be. Like New Jersey, they're making the playoffs. This pick's going to be probably in the 20s somewhere. It's not going to be a prime stud player, but who knows? You can trade it, you can turn it, you can draft, you can turn it into a stud, you can turn it into an average player, you can turn it into a bust. Like picks are people hold first round picks in such high value unless it's a lottery pick. The picks shouldn't really, in my opinion, mean that much. Like you shouldn't see a first and be like, "Oh, you're getting a stud." Like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of guys that get drafted in the first round that just don't pan out, and there's a bunch of guys that get drafted that just way exceed expectations. You just don't know. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
like I don't know, and they didn't really get a solid roster player in return. Like Janssen and Zetterland are all right, but they're not like there's no replacement for Timo Meyer there. Like there's no one that's going to step in and at least contribute a lot offensively. Like I mean, I know the Sharks aren't good, so Janssen's probably going to do better in San Jose, but yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. Like they could have gotten a lot more especially after seeing what some other guys got on the trade market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the next trade, which hurt my soul a lot, being a Preds fan and growing to love Tanner Jeannot in the Preds uniform. But the return back for him, I honestly can't complain. I can't complain about a trade like that. What do you guys think?
I think ever since they announced Barry Trotz actually being involved in some of the trades here, that is a insane return for Tanner Jeannot. The complete opposite of the Timo Meyer deal.
Mhm.
Nashville brings in Cal Foot, a 2025 first, 2024 second rounder, 2023 third, 2023 fourth, and a 2023 fifth for Tanner Jeannot. That is quite the return. And I think even though Tanner Jeannot was one of your favorite players, that is you should be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I can't complain. I can't complain.
Yeah.
I will say that that trade is a big win for the Preds. Like they get a prospect and then 5 more picks, which could turn into more prospects. So basically, Jeannot for 6 prospects, assuming they don't trade them. But again, like I said, like you just never know with picks. Like they could draft 5 busts, or they could draft a bunch of studs, and then the trade looks way lopsided. So yeah, but
Mhm.
as of right now, the
Exactly.
Nashville wins because they could flip the picks, turn them into other pieces. And Jeannot isn't really having a great season himself, but Tampa does have a kind of a reputation for trading for guys at the deadline who are kind of underperforming and then turning them into studs. Like you look at Nick Paul, Brandon Hagel, Blake Coleman, Barclay Goodrow. They all had their best years on Tampa, and some of them are still there. So, like, yeah, it's a win for the Preds, but
Mhm.
like you never know what Tampa's going to do with Jeannot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
And then, Alex, you want to introduce the next trade that we have on the board here?
Sure. So we got the McCabe and Lafferty deal to Toronto to discuss. The full trade details are to the Leafs, they acquired Jake McCabe and forward Sam Lafferty in exchange for a 2025 first rounder, 2026 second round pick, Joey Anderson, and Pavel Gogolov. So, um, what do you guys think?
Um, I'll go first. I just think on the surface, it seems pretty even to me. McCabe, he's not an offensive dynamo by any means, but he's pretty good at just being a pure shutdown defenseman. He's a big guy. Um, he actually did not too bad defensively on a terrible Chicago team. And
Hmm.
Lafferty he's one of the best penalty killing forwards in the whole game. He has 4 shorthanded goals this year, which is tied for the league lead. Um, and I think he'll really help their bottom 6 defensively. They do give up again a bunch of picks, a couple prospects. They're basically Toronto's going all in. They're wagering their future for the next, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years to try and win this year, get over that first round hump. And we just don't know if it's going to pay off, but maybe these guys can help.
Yeah,
Pretty much
I
said it
was.
all right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. Alex,
yeah,
you
that
got
was
anything to
pretty
add?
good. I don't know. I was thinking about bringing it up later. Well, maybe I should. Yeah, I'll hold on to that later. Let's keep rolling here. We'll get through all the trades, and then I'll bring up some extra thoughts here at the end.
That's good.
Okay, I'll bring up the next one then. This one, Oilers fans were begging for a trade. I'm an Oilers fan. We just want to see something happen. This wasn't really what we expected. We thought Pugliarvi might be part of a bigger deal, but he just goes to Carolina in a 1-for-1 deal for Patrick Pistola. He's a prospect, 22 years old, playing in Liga right now. Um, Tough day to see Pugliarvi go. I think we all really liked him here from Edmonton.
Yep.
Just a great personality, goofy guy. He didn't really produce as expected on the ice, but yeah, we got prospect back who has a little bit of potential, but most importantly, we got some cap space. So, what do you guys think about that
Exactly.
trade?
It hurts my soul a little bit having a Pugliarvi signed jersey and being a big fan of him, but it was kind of one of those things that just had to happen. And it's not like Ken Holland tried to really trade him away from the beginning. He was rumored in trade talks for however long now, and it turns out that they wanted to re-sign him a week ago even. What Ken Holland said is he came forward to Pugliarvi's camp, and Pugliarvi came back and he said, still want out. So what are you supposed to do at that point, right? So getting Patrick Puistola, not a terrible return, but it's more so about the cap space. You're right.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he did. Pugliarvi, he was good in Edmonton, but I feel like this change of scenery will definitely help him out in the future. I think he needs something like that to keep progressing his career forward and getting to higher lineups like second line guy, first line guy, even maybe not
Mhm.
in Carolina, but I could see him definitely moving up to be a second line guy.
He's very lucky to be going to Carolina too.
Hmm.
Out of all teams, playing with Aho, who in the 2016 World Juniors they combined together. Uh, Pugliarvi led the tournament with 17 points, and I believe Aho had 15, might be 16 points, and they were dynamite that tournament. So exciting times for Pugliarvi, that's for sure.
100%.
Yeah, I just hope he succeeds there more than he did in
Hmm.
Edmonton, which I think
Yeah,
he will. Bunch of Finnish
Hmm.
players over there, they'll fit right in.
I agree.
All right, the next deal, Harrison, you want to introduce that one?
Indeed. The next one we have Sandine going from the Leafs to the Caps for Eric Gustafson and a 2023 first round pick, but it was Boston's first round pick. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that one?
I saw a lot of Leaf fans crying online over this one.
Hmm.
This is a pretty good deal for the Caps. I mean, they send back Gustafson, who I'm a fan of, but the Leafs also give away, or they also get the 2023 Boston first rounder, which is going to be extremely late, basically a second rounder at value. So the Caps fleece the Leafs, but I think it was one of those moves that had to happen with how many moves Kyle Dubas is making. So you win some, you lose some. It is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
um, that trade was probably the most lopsided so far at the deadline. Like Sandine, he just killed it on Toronto. He was playing on the third pairing, but he has so much potential. He's so young. He was playing extremely well. and they trade him
Mm-hmm.
away for Gustafson, who he can produce offensively, but he's not really that good otherwise. Like Sandin is miles better. And like, yeah, the
Mhm.
first it wasn't even Washington's first. They just flipped what they got for Orlov and Hathaway and turned
Mm-hmm.
him into Sandin, who's basically like Orlov and Sandin are both pretty offensive. But Sandin's way younger. He's on a cheaper deal. Like I think Capitals just ate on this one. Like
100%.
that was just a great trade by Washington, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, shall we move into the next one? Jace, do you want to do that one?
Sure, this one was another Toronto one. This is a deal that um, happened on the same day as the Sandin one. It was just a pretty simple one. Toronto trade away a third round pick this year for Luke Shen, bring him back to Toronto. Um, yeah, not really too big of a deal. You want to touch pretty quickly on that one?
I definitely think it's a move for like a win now thing for Toronto, as that third round pick doesn't really affect them much at the moment. But
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, that yeah, I think it's a really minor trade, but it should help them out.
I think that's all there really is to say on that one.
Hmm.
Not too much going on there. Just
Just
a
add a
third
depth
rounder
defenseman.
going back. Yeah. So let's get into the next one here. Another simple one by the Leafs here. We got Engvall going to the Islanders for a 2024 third rounder. Another simple one that just it kind of had to happen with all the moves that the Leafs were having. They're making, I guess. So pretty similar to the Shen deal, honestly.
Hmm.
Yeah, not really too much to
Yeah,
say
really,
there. I mean,
not much.
I think the Islanders will enjoy Engvall. He'll help them out a little bit because they're kind of going for a playoff push. But yeah, nothing really other than that to touch on that one.
Yeah.
But we got a big one next, though. This one was a
Yeah.
blockbuster.
Yes, we got the this one hurt me a little bit as a Preds fan, but I'm sure it enjoyed you guys a little bit as Oilers fans. But Ekholm and a 2024 6th round pick to Edmonton, while Nashville gets Tyson Berry, Reed Schaefer, 2023 first, and a 2024 fourth. What do you guys think? As Edmontonians.
Jace, I'll let you get this one. I just want to add quick that Nashville did retain 4% of
Right.
Ekholm's salary. So instead of his cap being 6.250, it's 6 flat. So Jace, take her away.
Yeah. Well, I'm the Oilers fan here. The Oilers are you guys also both like the Oilers, but they're my favorite team,
Hmm.
and I just think the one thing that Edmonton really needed, I think, to go far was just they just needed better defense. Like that's the one thing they could score 5 goals, but they let in 6. Like it was just frustrating. Just seeing guys make mistakes on the back end. I think Ekholm, he's not gonna fix it because he won't play all the time, but he'll be eating minutes. He'll be playing over 20 minutes a night, and he'll be that shutdown guy that um, we don't have anymore. Like we had Larson, he left. Clefbaum got hurt. I think Ekholm's going to come in. He's going to be a real solid piece for us. And Barry going the other way, that's pretty tough. He was the power play quarterback and really good offensively, but he was pretty lackluster on defense. So I think we're just trading away offense, which we have plenty of, for more defense, which we were lacking. Schaefer, he's not going to help us win now. Neither are those picks. Um, like Schaefer's probably going to turn into a pretty good player, but again, Edmonton's going all in this year. Like they need to win now, and I think Ekholm helps us more than Barry would have, honestly.
I agree. I just want to add how the game went yesterday. I thought Ekholm looked fantastic. It's a little cliche to say that the Oilers, their locker room said that they wanted a puck moving defenseman, not just off the boards. But Ekholm, he was making plays off the boards. The one pass to Draisaitl looked fantastic and something that we hadn't quite seen in a little while, maybe since Larson had left. So I thought he looked pretty good in his debut.
Yeah, I agree. He didn't really make any mistakes, and that's kind of what you want from a defenseman. Like they're making mistakes if they're standing out in negative ways. That's not a good sign. I think he either didn't really stand out at all, which is good. It means he's playing his position, or he made some good plays, got an assist. So yeah, I think overall great debut for Ekholm.
Yeah, exactly. As a Preds fan, seeing him, he's been on the Preds ever since I became a Preds fan. So he's there the whole time. He's always so good defensively, even offensively. He chips in too. Even last night, like his first shift, he joined in on the rush on a 3-on-2, and almost got it across to him. But yeah, I think it'll be really good for the Oilers.
I agree.
It'll totally help him out.
Yeah. Let's just jump into the next one here. This is a super small one. The Minnesota Wild got Nyquist from the Blue Jackets for 5th-round pick. Not really too much to say there. He's still on LTIR, so he's not going to play the rest of the year, but he might come join in the playoffs. Like, who knows? You guys want to add anything, or?
There's not much to add. I mean, I think the biggest part of that trade is mentioning that he's still on LTIR. So
Yeah.
That's about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's hop into the next one. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Patrick Kane trade. So let's get all the details here. So Chicago receives a 2023 second-round pick, conditional, a 2025 4th-round pick. I'm not going to try and pronounce that guy's name. Andy Walensky. And then the Rangers receive Patrick Kane, which is the major part of this trade, and Cooper Zek. And then Arizona, the broker, receives a 2025 3rd-round pick from the Rangers. So what do you guys think?
I think this trade, Chicago kind of, with Kane's no move clause, Chicago really kind of got screwed because Kane, he really only wanted to go to the Rangers, so they could only accept the Rangers' best offer, which is kind of lackluster. A second, fourth, 2 prospects for Patrick Kane, one of the best NHL players of the past decade. Yeah, I guess that's just the power of the no move clause. Like, Kane is going to fit right in the Rangers. Like we said earlier, he's playing with Panarin. They're going for a cup run. He's trying to win his 4th cup. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see him in the Big Apple.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Blackhawks are definitely a very underwhelming return, but yeah, we'll see what Kane can do in the with the Rangers here. That's about it, honestly. Harrison, do you want to take away the next one here?
Yes. This one shocked me big time. I see him. But yeah, here's the trade. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it was quick. A 1st-round pick and a 3rd-round pick to Columbus for Vladislav Gavrikov and Jonas Korpisalo. Quick being there for 16 years and seeing him gone just like that is just, it kind of broke my heart, even though I'm not a Kings fan.
It broke my heart for Quick. I mean, he dedicated his life to the Kings organization, and for them to just say bye like that right after the team win in Winnipeg, it happens on the flight back. That's pretty unbelievable. I get that he was disastrous this season. He was god awful, but man, that's a tough way to go.
100%.
Yeah, it's LA's trying to load up to go on a run. Got a couple good pieces, but they had to say goodbye to their best goalie in franchise history. So yeah, I know he was pretty upset. The whole team was, but yeah, it's just tough to see Quick go.
100%.
Yeah.
All right.
Good player going from his hometown team.
I think we're basically done all the stuff from before today, Thursday. So yeah, if there's any more trades, we'll touch on them at the next week at the next podcast, or any more news. But I think there's also, I'll just mention super quickly, Poyle retiring at the end of the year. Trotz will step in. That's exciting for Preds fans. And K'Andre Miller got suspended 3 games for spitting on Drew Doughty, which is kind of shocking. But Doughty likes to get under guys' skins like that. So K'Andre Miller sitting out a bit. But other than that, I think that's going to be it for the first episode of the podcast. Thank you guys all for listening. You can follow our socials: Instagram at bluelinebreakdown, Twitter at bluelinebd, and do we have any other socials? Oh, YouTube. I don't know if we'll upload anything to YouTube yet, but we do have a YouTube Blue Line Breakdown. But yeah, that's going to be it for us this week. Thanks you guys for tuning in, and I think we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Peace out.